Welcome back. Happy Monday, everyone. We are Monday Night Live with Lance. You are in the safety of my garage in my house. It's just talking to our lovely guest before about the safe space that this is and where I'm doing. And I do a lot of the presentations and a lot of the work that I do now is from the safety of my garage because you can see behind me, well, it's a bit hard to see, but I've got full gym set up, got my bike trainer and all that sort of stuff set up. Which is for me, and we keep talking about the things that we do for ourselves, the self-care and the investment that we need to be putting into ourselves. And for me, this is my place. It's when I do wake up, for those people that call me an idiot, I do wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning and walk my 15 meters to get to the garage, and I spend my 2.5 hours on the bike, and I love it, and it is everything for me, and it's it's my escape, it's my me time, it's my outlet, and other people have different ways of doing that. But for me at 4 o'clock, there's actually absolutely me time because there's no one else awake. It's which is obviously why I do it at that time. But it's a big week. It's been a big couple of weeks. I love me, love you, and in COVID and in community. It's obviously the announcements yesterday has rocked a few people. In how they're going about it, and the restrictions being, sort of implemented for another couple of weeks with lockdown into the stage 4. But and there's going to be a lot of anger and a lot of bitterness and a lot of those negative reactions to what was said yesterday. But we've got to adhere to the plan and make it work, and as much noise as we can make about it. We just need to keep playing our role and make sure we can get through this, because I don't want to have a Christmas in isolation, and I'm pretty sure our amazing guests here don't want to have Christmas in isolation as well. So it is Suicide Prevention Day and Are You OK Day on Thursday, and it gives me great pleasure and a humbling experience, every experience I get to have with the Bell family, the guests that you can see on the screen. It's apart from that person that just ghosted in the back. Belly and Tylah, it's so we're very humbled, mate. The support, the effort that you two go into to create awareness for these types of conversations, for the cause, for Love Me, Love You. Tylah, I just seen recently, the video that you did for Men's Health Week in June, which had thousands and thousands of views. Just sharing a message of love and support to the people out there. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome big Darren Bell and Tylah Bell to Monday Night Live. How are we?
Good, Lance. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Going all right. I'm excited to have you on board. I'm excited to always connect with you guys and share a message and share a conversation that for a lot of people is not one of the conversation that we want to have, and we will go through this tonight. But what I like about what you do now is what I've always, my quote that I always go by is about finding from the darkest of places we find the brightest of lights, and being able to share that message for our people out there. And making sure that they can get the support and understand with those lights that we find that we use that light to shine our path forward. And I think that you guys, Darren and Tylah, do that in your community and do that for this world, because the feedback that I get every time I mention either of your names to people that know who you are, their faces light up. And they just, think that you're the best people in the world. So, as I said, once again, I appreciate you being a part of this. So, but obviously, there's a connection to why, okay? And I'm going to go straight into it. And there is a reason why. And it is Tanner, your son, Darren, and your brother, Tylah, who lost his life to suicide in 2017 and will be forever known as Tanner Bell, the happiest guy in the room. And it was always the most loved guy in the room, but hid what was going on deep down inside. Tell us through that experience.
Yeah. It was probably something, we struggled with as a family a lot, and then obviously with mum and dad being separated. I was very proud of them both for dealing with it really well. But when Tanner was first diagnosed with having psychosis for our family, I mean, unless I'm wrong, I don't think it was really a factor, mental health in our family. So when we all found out about this, we were in such a shock because we always look at like, oh, Tanner had a good life and like he's done well at school, he's having his apprenticeship. So when that started coming about, I think that it threw a bit of waves through our family, and then it was kind of like sticking together for him and then like for the future and like helping him to get better.
Yeah. And what was he diagnosed with?
Psychosis.
Psychosis.
Okay. And when was that? That was 2017, 2016?
No, Tanner was diagnosed when he was 16.
When he was 16, when he was 16, he got diagnosed with psychosis. He spent a bit of time in the children's hospital.
Yeah, a few months.
And how did we get to that position? How did, like, was it behaviours through school? You noticed it at home?
No, it's funny you mention that, Lance, because he was working at the time with his stepdad on a building site. And then I was at work and he spoke to me like every morning or every day or whatever. And then he rang me and said, Dad, I think it was that, like an underbelly show that was on TV. And he goes, they're here to get me. I'm going, what are you talking about, mate? Relax. There's no one there to get you. It's all okay. He goes, Dad, I'm going to jump. They're coming to get me. I said, mate, they're not. Just sit there. I'll come and get you. So then I didn't think too much of it. So I rang up his mum and she goes, he rang me before too. He doesn't sound something's going on. So right, so I'm going to go and pick him up. So I go to pick him up. He's working down near DFO there, right near South Wharf there. And as I'm coming down off there, next minute, I look to the right and there he is sitting in the middle of the traffic lights, holding onto all the cars. There's 5 lanes, cars going 100 miles down. He's clinched to the traffic light. So that's I did the U-turn. I said, mate, hop in the car. So then he hopped in the car and he's all upset and he's flustered. So I took him back to work with me. And then I didn't know what was going on. I'm thinking, what's the matter? And I actually thought he'd taken drugs because he's frothing at the mouth. And it wasn't that in the end. But then I took him back to work, and my boss said, look, you better go home. So I took him home and then
you dropped him to our house.
I went up to he goes up to his mother's on a Wednesday night for tea. So I dropped him up to his mum's, and then you look back at it now, and it was not. I shouldn't say it's a funny thing, but you look back and I think there because he said to me, he goes, "You give me a kiss." I said, "All right, mate. Let me know when you're ready to be picked up. I'll come and get you." Yeah. So sure enough, he went up to his mum's, dropped him off, and he goes, "I love you, Dad." I said, "I love you too, mate." Next minute, he said to his mum, went for a run. He started crying, and next minute, he decided to go to run, and then he jumped in front of a train that night.
Shit. Wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty sudden. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, there wasn't any signs. People keep asking the question: could you have done anything more? Could you have seen anything? And you said everything happened so quickly. There wasn't conversation. Sorry.
He was on medication. But that was the biggest problem that I had with his mum, Jackie. I used to say, make sure it's getting to the stage now where we've got to watch him because he used to say he was taking it, but he probably wasn't taking it. So I used to have him in the morning, mate, take it if we go to work. And he goes, yeah, I'm taking it. But then after about a couple of weeks, you'd notice if he wasn't taking it because then he'd start, well, that looks good. He said, it's like episodes when he wasn't taking it. You think because he thought under the proviso, he thought, I don't need to look anymore, I'm okay. But it wasn't that way at all.
I think it was an embarrassment too.
He didn't want anyone to know that he was on medication. Only his real close friends knew he was on the medication. He didn't want anyone to know that he had psychosis. He thought he was more embarrassed. I think he wanted people to know that he had an illness.
And that's a big thing. And obviously, a lot of work that goes into this space is understanding that there is nothing to be embarrassed of. But obviously, it's a very familiar story that people are still in that frame of mind, and especially when you're in the midst of it, you do feel that sense of embarrassment or ashamed, the fact that you're going through it. And, that's, taking medication is for people that are, at the highest risk. You don't want to be associated with that. And that's life. And that's how it's been for forever, but obviously we've still got a long way to go to make sure that that very idea, that theory around that is not correct, because medication for some people takes its place, and it has its place, because as we know with types of mental illness, that there is the chemical imbalance that is in us, okay, and that's why we're going through a whole different range of challenges, and the medication has its place to to try and alleviate and try and level that out a little bit for a lot of people. But as you said, there's a stigma that's associated with that. Same as the stigma still associated with saying that I'm going to a psychologist or I'm going to a psychiatrist or whatever it is. Tylah, you're beautiful and young and a part of the community, and you're one of the nicest people to grace this earth. What are you seeing in your network these days, at the younger age level? Because what around these types of conversations, how are you feeling about it?
In terms of suicide awareness?
Yeah, suicide, mental illness. What's happening, within your bracket, you think?
I just think for the younger generation, I guess like myself and people that are younger, I think it's just that stigma that surrounds them, especially for males, as everyone knows. I think that everyone just feels that they're attention seeking if they, post something that says they're not doing well, or I think some people believe also they have to have a reason for not feeling like themselves or being like that. Whereas I think that some of my struggles personally come from the loss of Tanner and that trauma that stood with that.
Yeah.
But then some people in this group might have all the money in the world or have fame and they still struggle with their inner demons themselves. So I think what I like to look at is just an audience like my age group, because I have so many close friends and then friends of friends who have had people that have taken their life to suicide, and they themselves always say you never see it coming. And I just think it's so important to, especially during what's going on, to send a message in a group chat or something and just check on your friends, just how you girls doing or how you guys going. It does go a long way.
Yeah, and definitely, as you said, that behaviour around checking in with each other, and making it a community feel, community check-in, making, if people aren't responding, then that something could be up. And, we do go through challenges. You said you could be at the top of the tree or at the bottom. We all go through challenges in our world, and we're all impacted by mental health challenges and what we're doing and the experiences that come with us. And the world that we live in, and you talk about this in a video we're going to play in a second, Valley. It's still those feelings of anger and blame and the devastation that comes with this. How do you embrace that? We're talking a few years on now. How do you embrace that now?
It's still hard for me. I think about it every day, and I still still blame myself to a certain degree, because I'm thinking. I look back at that night when I dropped him off to his mum's, and I thought, when he said I love you and he gave me a kiss, that was like he was saying goodbye. But I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't think nothing more. But if I'd have known what I know now, with hindsight, I probably would have tried to do something more for him. But we didn't know. We were unaware. We just thought he was all okay. But then, so yeah, in that regards, it's a battle, mate. It's a battle every day for me. I know that. Like I miss him like crazy.
Yeah. And you should miss him like crazy. And he's your son, and as you said, forever 21. That there's all those unanswered questions that come with it. Yeah, and could I have done this? Could I have heard this? Could I have seen this? And they're the unanswered questions. But as I said, I think in terms of shining the light about you guys sharing your story and sharing Tanner's story, and as I said, living on in spirit. And I say to people, it's about living on in spirit. Make sure this place is a better place when you leave it, due to the things that happen in our life. We can all do that. The strength that it takes. I myself have not lost a loved one. I've lost friends and lost people that I've known through suicide, but I've never lost someone so close to me. And the strength that you guys show to front up, and do this, and there are many other people in this world that do this as well. And a lot of the comments that come through, and a lot of people talk to me, just shows a lot of courage and hope for this world. Because through Devastation, that bond that has brought us to here. We're going to make sure that we do leave this place in a better position when we leave, due to the work that you guys do and the honesty and the vulnerabilities that you show. It's and Tyler, you said in the video you did Men's Health Week. To my brother, although you couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, I hope many others do. And sharing your story, I believe it can help prevent someone else from a tragic ending. How important is it for you to really honour Tanner's life?
Yes, it's probably something I look up to every day. And when I get up in the morning, I try and live on for him. And I just think it's such a big friendship group and he was known by so many people. I think that with the way that Tanner unfortunately left this world, that I just, being his sister and being someone so close to him, I just feel like I wouldn't be right with myself if I didn't, speak about his story and then try and help somebody else to not have to deal with what, we have to deal with every day, I guess, without Tanner being here. And I think I find it so important that something so little to me, like even just speaking about his struggles, can really help somebody's family member or somebody for the rest of their life to be like, you know what, like Tanner's family, who would have picked him, but they're still going and they still fight and they still, raise awareness for mental health.
Yeah. I mean, you said we're going to do something about it. And this is the main reasons that I started the organisation with a few of my close friends 7 years ago, is that I never want people to have gone through what I did, and that's why we will continually fight and continually wake up every single day and make sure that we give our 150% and everything more for this mission. That's, that people get the support and make sure that they feel supported and loved and cared for as much as they possibly can. It's and that'll never stop. We appreciate the support that you guys give to the cause. As you said, you could have gone the other way and just not talked about it ever again, and it just be lingering there and going what it is. But as I said, strength to you, because it's and all the love in the world to you, because as I said before, you are known in the community as a couple of the greatest people going around. So it's that. How do we get young people talking then, Tyler? How do we make it happen?
Young people talking.
How do we make it happen?
With the organisation that you guys do, I think how you go out to schools and football clubs and kind of break down and normalise it. I think normalising is a huge issue that we have to deal with. I think if we normalise it to younger kids who live the lifestyle that Tanner did, who partied and went out and, everyone thought, oh, he's great, he's funny, who would pick him. Yeah. I think if you were to just say to someone, how are you actually going, mate, or why don't we just go for a kick of the footy or something like that, to someone who's struggling can nearly save their life, I guess.
It can make a lot of a difference. And you said they're normalising that very behaviour, physically and verbally, around having these types of conversations, and it's extremely important, not just for young people but for adults, Belly. And to look at you, Belly, mate. The epitome of a man. Like, you are everything there is. Your textbook bloke. So how are you finding this in a real bloke's world? These types of conversations.
Yeah, well, I probably tend to agree with what you and Tyler were saying. I think because I'm from the old school, because I'm the old sort of bloke, when we were little, like the kids are today, it was unheard of, because you never used to show your feelings or never used to say that you love someone, whereas now it's done a complete 360 reversal, whereas now I'm going to tell me mates every day I love you, and it's more open now, which is probably a good thing. Like, I say, if you need to talk, I'm always here to talk, and they did the same to me, which I think it's half the battle. I think you got to show your feelings and your emotions, whereas before you never used to, because you were probably too scared, because if you did, you probably got a puff or a pansy, because you never used to kiss your mates, whereas now I kiss my mates all the time. I'll give them a hug and a kiss, whereas it's more open now, which is probably a good thing. Because a lot more people are opening up now as before they used to.
Yeah, and it was that unwritten law, wasn't it? that it was never to be spoken about. And, and you growing up in the footy, in the local footy world, mate, and it was unwritten law of saying this is not the one being an Aussie cultural. Historically, Aussie culture was that we just get on with it, and you don't should have show those emotions or feelings to other men or even other females. It's but slowly we're getting around to it, and the hugging your mate has replaced the handshake. Even myself, and that's the world that we live in. Had it done that 10 years ago, had it done that 15 years ago, 20 years ago, geez, people would have been, their heads would have been spinning, But I think they get the very realization that we're all in this together, and showing your love for each other is what we thrive off as humans. We need that energy, and we thrive off that very connection. And it's but obviously at the moment it's a lot more of a challenge. We're going through some really challenging experiences in this last 6 months, and we're going to have to fight this a lot longer moving forward. But how are you finding? Obviously, you are able to work still, Darren and Tylah. You're still able to work now, which is a huge relief in itself. And I find it myself. It's a huge relief in being able to work because still have something to wake up to get to, and the challenges that people are facing right now. How do we have these conversations with people that we're not seeing? Those people that you're not seeing, how do we make sure that they feel that love?
Well, like you said, mate, the hardest part is you can't see anyone. You got to give them a call. You got to, whether you spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and I'm a shocker for it myself. I had a couple of calls on the weekend from a couple of friends, and I haven't got back to them yet because they're really in the pump, but I'll get back to them there because you don't know what's going on. They might be struggling as well. So there's nothing worse. I feel for them because a lot of my friends aren't working. They're stuck. They've been at home since March, and I'm thinking it must be doing. They're doing stir crazy. Yeah. So like I said, I think you just got to try and ring. Like they say, if you try and ring 1 or 2 or 3 a day to see how they're going and just put the feelers out, that's all you can do, I suppose, because I'd rather do that than find out, get a phone call a week later and say that they've done something silly and they've passed away, because then you won't you blame yourself again, you won't forgive yourself.
And that tragedy that comes with it. It's someone told me, I do this a lot, that if you do miss a call from me, and usually a text message will follow up that missed call if it's not answered, to say, I'm just here, just checking in, making sure you're all right. And I think that it's very behaviour around understanding that you're just being checked in on and checked in with, not just checking on because you're worried about it. I'm just being checked in because this is life, and I receive those messages and phone calls 10, 12 times a day from a bucket load of different people, and people that I haven't spoken to, and especially this time is, I received a phone call today from someone that I hadn't spoken to in months, but it was just a really nice just to have a quick, 2-minute phone call. Yep. And that's all it is. You're not expecting people to be on the phone or communicate and go into your deep, darkest secrets and talk about life and everything that's been happening. It's simple, those 2-minute conversations, they make a difference and making it work.
Totally agree.
Tell us about, Tanner, there's a very proud photo that you showed Tylah being his fire protection engineer. That was obviously his world, and footy, by all reports, was a gun footballer. Not as good as me. Not as good as you. And then I was going to get to your career, Tylah, but apparently you're the one that you are the one that actually shows Dad the shirt front and the push off. Is that how it works? Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. You might look like an in-under player, Belly, but apparently you're really good in the hot dog stand, out in receiving out in the wing there.
Yeah.
Mate. Footy was his world as well, but so the fire protection engineer. How proud was he? How proud are you guys that was his? What was he was doing?
We were wrapped.
Yeah, we were wrapped because Well, if it wasn't for his stepfather, he probably wouldn't have done it. I must admit, I wasn't happy at the start because he was pretty smart at school and he was pretty cluey. But then his stepdad said, "Well, what about doing an apprenticeship?" So yeah, so he went down that line, and then he got an apprenticeship and he qualified, which was fantastic because looking at some of the kids today, they don't get that opportunity anymore because it's too hard.
It's a hard industry to get into as well. So he was lucky that he had his foot in the door.
Yeah. But sometimes it is a who you know and the process, and sometimes timing is everything in this world as well. You know, with a lot of things that we do, but you got to take those opportunities when they present, and and obviously he did that, and the footy, how are his mates since it happened? How have his mates interacted? How have his mates taken it on board?
I'd say that a lot of his mates now are a lot more aware themselves, and a lot more of them might share the post that check on your mates, or you never know when you can lose a close friend because they say boys will be boys because they have that mentality that they just stick it out and be tough. But I think like with the situation with Tanner and how he passed, and it was such a shock for all of them, I think it was a wake-up call for a lot of them as well to be like, oh, we need to get around each other here. We don't want to lose another mate. We want to honour Tanner, and which they are. A lot of his friends are wonderful. They still check in with Dad and I and Mum and catch up. I mean, they message obviously prior to COVID about catching up for drinks or popping in, or sometimes, you'll see them at the cemetery, or they obviously struggle, a lot of them still, which can be expected. And with someone like Tanner, who was always known the life of the party, I think you always have in the back of your head that there's always going to be that one person missing now.
Yeah.
So I think them raising awareness now and doing the things that they probably didn't do back then, which none of us probably would have done. I think it's as important for them to stick together. And like Dad is the president of Riddle, and he sees a lot of his Tanner's friends, and they're a close bunch.
Yeah, they are. And the Sunbury we start off with the Sunbury boys. They usually they run a turn for him, whatever, and the same as the Riddle boys. They're all still very close, which is a good thing. It is good. So like Tyler said, I think it's not so much a blessing in disguise, but he might have been like the sacrificial lamb, because now I don't think there's been a few of the boys that have had a few troubles in that, but they always come and talk, and it's like now they know now to talk about it, which is a bonus, because whereas before they never used to, which is a good thing.
And it is a good thing. And as you said, in all types of war, you are going to lose soldiers in the battle. In terms of what this war that we're in against mental illness and suicide, it's it's unfortunate. It's part of life, and it's sad and devastating, and it's something that we never want to have to go through. But as you said, the fact that he's probably the lives that he has saved from it happening, for the reality that it's probably had to set into the community and the people that are connected to you guys, the people that have actually gone on to actually talk about their challenges and talk about it and get the help that they need. You'll never know how many people have been impacted by Tanner's loss. Okay, but please take in strength, in love, and support into yourselves the fact that as I said, that devastating experience is having an impact on people and making sure that they are able to move forward. So as you said, you live on in spirit, and you make it work. And footy clubs are rife for it. It's historically, having been a part of footy clubs for a long time, that these sort of the macho, over the top person is usually the person that is in need of the greatest of help. And like I'm looking in the mirror here, Belly. You're a bit better looking than I am, the full head of hair, but it is. I had put on this great bravado of who Lance Petroni was supposed to be, but was fighting the biggest of demons inside. But no one ever knew anything was going on, because this is what you looked at and this is what you got. So it's you take courage, as I said, and strength from what you guys are doing. So we appreciate that. What would you have liked to have known back then that you do now?
With Tanner?
Yeah.
Probably the simple, like, I'm not doing well, guys, or I need to go back just to even the local GP, or maybe have, a medical review. Maybe he needed stronger tablets, or like, it has a lot of what ifs, obviously. But I think I would, I think if Tanner was still here and had have said something, that'd be the biggest saviour. Just saying.
Yeah, I agree, because he wasn't real talkative in that regards. He'd sort of keep it like brush under the table. That's probably if I could do it now, I'd like everyone's doing now, I'd say, look, mate, how you feeling? And be more open and talk about it. Then we probably could have got the help he probably needed, more help he could have needed, and he might have been, who knows, he might have been better off.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Do you think there could be value around more of an involved treatment plan? Because you said you don't know what he was getting treated, you don't know the medication that he should have been taking or should have been, or what was going through. Yeah. Was there information or anything communicated to you from the professionals?
Well, I know that when he got discharged from Origin, you do local follow-up with the GP, which Tanner had, and then I think because he turned the age of 18, it was more like might have to take the medication for the rest of your life. But I think that's where the letdown probably was in the system as such, because with him not being able to say, I don't think these are working or they're doing nothing, he wasn't going to be the type to speak up. So I think for us, family, like, we would never have known what psychosis was if not for Tanner's struggle. So I think probably having more of an understanding with the medication he's on and maybe what it does or what side effects it has, or even a rerun through like 6 months later to be like, Tanner's on this medication and it does this, he might suffer more drowsiness or, headaches or something, but keep an eye on him. Whereas I think because he's just taken the same medication, especially when he was at Dad's, and he was getting up, going to work, going to footy training, going out on the weekend, living his normal day-to-day life, we obviously generally thought he was doing okay, and until that obviously day when he was really sure.
Yeah. And this is the role we think in the system that's being developed now. As we said, this is a few years ago that was happening. Obviously the system's a lot better now, but there's a lot more resource and research going into better management, better treatment plans. And I do believe, and we at Love Me Love You, we see it all the time around, especially in youth, because we have to have a lot of conversations with the caregiver in terms of what that youth treatment plan looks like. But when people are left to their own devices, there is an accountability for that person from us to say, I hope you're going and doing the right things. And if there is an issue, you need to let us know. You need to let us so we can help you. And that's the same thing for you guys is you need to know, and you can't support what doesn't need, you don't know needs supporting, isn't it? So, you think it's all okay. He's getting his treatment. He's taking his medication, and he's living his best life. But you said it, and then that Monday, that I believe is a big part of what we do at Love Me Love You is really finding out and holding the hand through the whole process. And that, I said, energy saying about that constant follow up. Constantly checking in, even if you think someone's going all right, just checking in. Mate, are you all right with this? Is this working? Are we on? And I think being more involved and more inclusive in that sort of the recovery or the treatment moving forward is really important. So, and it's finding out just, creating that space. And you said before, if you could have just created that space a little bit better or created that space more inclusive, but it's what we know now. Yeah. And as a sector, as a community, it's what we know now. Okay, and allowing ourselves to be a part of that. It's really, really important. So it's you talk about him being such a funny, outgoing guy. Good looking rooster too. Just quietly, good looking rooster. Didn't get that from Dad, that's for sure. So most leave that there. Eh? What would he be saying? You know, do you think, knowing what happened?
I think he'd be apologising first.
Yep.
Yeah.
And be embarrassed.
I think that he'd probably be really emotional in the sense that he probably wouldn't have thought what has happened afterwards, what we've had to deal with, and what it's caused,
and what he's left behind.
Yeah, and what he's missed out on, and some of his friends getting married or having kids.
Yeah,
like Tanner was all about it, and so I think missing out on those celebrations or even just going out, having a drink with a mate.
Footy finals.
Yeah, watching Sydney, our rivalries.
You wouldn't want to watch Sydney now, but anyway.
Exactly.
I could have played. Did I play against him back in 2016? He played at Riddle. Did you play at Riddle? Because I was playing. I played.
Did Tanner?
Yeah.
2017 at Riddle. He only played the one.
He only played the 1 year. He played 2017.
Yeah, he was at Sunbury Lions.
He was at Sunbury Lions 2016.
Okay. I was going to say I probably taught him a lesson if we had playing Riddle that year.
Probably knocked him out.
Hey, I was a lover of a footballer, not a fighter. We know that, Belly. Come on. And you said, the things that he missed out, and there is a very powerful video that we will play that we did 2 years ago that both of you were on, called Left Behind, and it does just shows the emotion of those people that have been left behind from suicide, whether it be a family member or a friend or a partner. It's that video. I know I get a lot of contact all the time from this very video that we'll show in a second. It's had close to 300,000 views, which is huge in itself. It's berserk. It's and the comments and the people all over the world. Yeah, and that's the thing. People all over the world, they see it and they comment and they just, and people that are going through it. It's distressing. It is a distressing video for some people to watch, but what we want you to take from it is the very fact that we're all loved and we're all needed in this life, and we're all wanted by someone, and it's only one person that we need to be wanted by and needed by, and that person that we only need to be needed by is ourselves. I'm here for me, and I need to make this work, but I need my people around me, and I'm going to play this and see how this works. So please bear with me, people. As I said, it comes with a warning at the start, but the power behind this video is absolutely amazing. So bear with me and make this work.
My name's Darren Bell, and I lost my son Tanner.
I lost my best mate Jackson.
I lost my younger sister Erica.
My father took his own life and left behind me and my 3 brothers.
I lost my partner and the father of my 2 children.
I lost my best mate. We've been friends for a long time.
I lost my father Paul, and I lost my younger brother Jay.
I lost my very beloved brother, whose name was Damien.
I just recently lost my brother Tanner. I saw the detectives and that at my house, and then I just knew, because he was missing for over a couple of hours, that he was gone.
The police had told us some rough details of what had happened, and then we were told to go to hospital.
Don't know what time it was, in the middle of the night, and looked up to her. She was crying. I said, "Mum, what's going on?" She goes, "Dad's gone."
I was found by his mum. I can't imagine anything worse in the world for someone to find their child dead.
I was kind of yelling at the detectives a bit as if to find him, this isn't right. And then once I realised that he wasn't coming home, the sadness kind of kicks in.
I was angry, more angry with myself, because I'd had a bit of an argument with him. I just told him to sort of calm down and sort of settle down. So I kind of blamed myself. in that regard.
It's just all didn't seem real. That early onset was just just unrealistic numbness. There was quite a bit of embarrassment for a bit to not want to tell people what he'd done, fear of judgment.
My first response was probably shock. He was such a popular kid.
Damien was my only sibling, so I felt an intense sense of loneliness, and still do.
It just feels like a bad dream every day. I didn't really allow myself to grieve until about 6 months later when I collapsed in a heap and I said, I now have to take 4 weeks off because I can't cope.
The advice I give is nothing's that bad. Nothing's that bad. That's the only measure you have to take, or the definitive measure that is your last resort.
The only advice I'd give them was talk about it.
Tell your family, let a family member know that you're not feeling like yourself, you're not feeling up to it. Just stay strong, get help that you need.
Just to be open with how you're feeling completely with the people you love, and don't try to judge yourself.
What I would want them to think about is the people that were left behind. At Dad's funeral, I've never seen so many grown men cry, There was 40 or 50 blokes who loved him.
It's okay to be open and vulnerable, and most importantly, to seek help. Be honest with the closest person you have and be open with them. If that means you're breaking down in their arms, then do that. And you're taking that first courageous step in your life, because there are people that want you here and need you here.
And I would say to absolutely use those services that are offered, because at the end of a phone call is someone that can help you.
There's people that love you and care about you and are there to help. You just have to ask. Reach out and allow people to look after you for a change. It's hard, and those who've been there know it's hard, and they will know how to take care of you in the way that you ask them to.
It's probably the most devastating thing I've ever had to deal with.
It's horrible. It's heartbreaking every day. You wake up and it's not the same. Like, you look in his bedroom and he's not there, but he's not coming home. It's hard.
I'll tell him I love you. That's probably the biggest thing. As a young boy, you don't think of those things to tell probably your father every day, but I can remember the last time I told him I loved him.
Probably the hardest moment of anything other than seeing his mum at his funeral. That was a hard day.
They might not have a support network or someone to talk to. It's amazing how many times someone can open up when you ask them, are you okay? And they say yes, and then you ask them 2 or 3 more times, and eventually they open up about some of the struggles they're facing. And everyone is fighting a battle that we know nothing about. But it's important to be there and be supportive, and that's what I look to do.
I never expected him to go through with suicide, because I thought that our babies would be enough to save him.
I've lost both parents through illness. I think to lose your son, it's not good. Heartbreaking.
That little hole never leaves your heart or your head. It doesn't ever go away, it just sits with you.
Wow. I get lost for words every time I watch it. And I probably watch that every few weeks just to make sure that make sure that it gives me the motivation to do what we do. And you talk about it in there, that sorry, I'm just a bit lost again. But as I said, the courage and strength that you guys showed, and the other members of the video to be a part of that, and show the very vulnerabilities of how it impacts us is, hats off to you all. And I'm sorry that it has to have been through that to be a part of something like the foundation and what we do with our cause. But I just want to show you a little comment here, Belly, and we've had hundreds of comments. We had so many comments all through, and I do appreciate everyone's input in here tonight. But there's one here, Belly, that you would like to know from one of your mates. So sad, yet incredibly brave of you to share your story. People never know how dark an individual's life can be. But putting a heart on your messages, Belly, has a bigger impact than you can imagine. Tanner is saving lives through yours and Tyler's efforts. So, it's BT, big fella, mate. It's those messages that you do. And this is the thing, Belly and Tyler, and you'll appreciate and understand this, is that by the amount of sharing and love that you put out, because we are giving people, and you two epitomise that so much, is that you are giving people about making sure everyone else is okay. But it's also about being checked in back. And we said before around, Tanner, and what we see is we believe that people are always okay. It's because that's what we see. And I think about that very behaviour that comes back. And I know that you have a great support network around you that do check in with you a lot. What do you want to say to them? What would you like to say to them now?
I think from the bottom of my heart, if it wasn't for them, mate, who knows? I mightn't be in myself, because I've had a couple of dark days myself. But yeah, I've got a very good support, like you said, very good support from my friends, especially from Tyler and her older sister Stacey, my brother and my sister, and plus my good mates close to living here for me. Who knows, mate? Like you need that, because there's a lot of people that haven't got what I've got, which that's what I'm thankful for. Like the footy club, Breville Footy Club, Sunday Footy Club, the old footy club, Strathmore. They're all been fantastic, which is, and as we said, I wouldn't want anyone else to sort of go through it. So hopefully, if people can do what we're doing, and then things might be a lot better in the future, we can only hope.
Yeah. Tyler?
I think from the support that I get myself and that our family get, like my close friends, I tell them all the time, like I owe them my life. They've been there for me on so many occasions when I've struggled myself, and like my mum and dad, I owe them everything. And then I found my partner Tom, and he's been a big help. And his family, his mum and dad, and his sisters, they've really helped me, and they've taken me in, and they know my struggles and they accept that. And my friends are amazing. Like they'll always message me, or just even if it's to go for a walk with the dogs or catch up. And I think that when I struggle, they kind of get the hint that I'm not doing so well, so I kind of go a bit silent, and I'm not the best at replying either. Like when dad or mum are in me, I kind of palm it off, which is a bad habit. But I think when you have those dark days, it's kind of the last thing that you want to deal with. So I think having a close support network has probably saved my life till this day, till 21. So I'm very grateful for them, and I owe them a lot.
Yeah. And the very important bit around investing in your support network and allowing them in, allowing those people into your life, because no matter how robust we feel in this life, there's certain days that you don't want to be here. And I appreciate how that looks, and did for a long time in my life as well. But to the people out there that do support us, acknowledging their support is really important, because all we want in life is to be acknowledged. For a lot of things, and showing support. Because if you keep giving it, and you think it's falling on deaf ears, please know, people, that your support is known. Like it is being heard. So, but we're just going to, as you said before, we keep saying this through the whole thing, normalising the behaviour around it. normalising the very language and the very physical behaviour around checking in and making sure that us as a community in our network feel loved and supported, and that even that when we're on our own, that we feel like we're never alone. And I think that if we can get to that and we invest in the people around us so much, that love is just being shot through, it can go travel kilometres and miles. That, if you said, even when you're sitting by yourself, that, you're feeling that love from the energy from those people around us. So it's, the comments keep coming in, guys, and it is, as I said, changing the stigma, doing your thing, and making sure that we have these conversations. Your partner, Tom, Tylah, I know that you've got a little project that you're really excited about in the little combi camper van thing going on. Is that right?
Yeah.
First road out. Soon as the restrictions are lifted, it's see you later. See you in 3 months. Is that how it's going to work?
Yeah, like catch you later, everyone. See you, Dad.
Yeah. Left to it.
A fortune.
I think probably then we'll like to travel Australia and see the world. I think, and I think for me, I like to look at every holiday that I go on. I like to take a bit of Tanner with me, so I like to look at things like he won't get to see, things like Byron Bay or Broome or bits of the world. So I think that travelling and being so young and being able to and fortunate enough to be able to work and save, I can't wait to travel with Tom and see Australia.
Well, that's if you stop spending so much money on your sneakers. The word is that you've got Hey, is that right, Belly? Hey, unbelievable.
Moccasins for Father's Day.
Oh, you got me moccas. I was wrapped, yeah.
As we say at our house, the favourite part of our day is delivery day. It's this COVID period is costing us more money in online shopping than we like to believe. So.
I'm still trying to steal Dad's credit card.
Yeah.
What life look like now, Belly? Obviously you're working pretty hard. You're working in customs there. In the customs, is that right? Yeah.
What the customs agent?
The footy club. What else is going on? What else is Darren Bell about, apart from being a superstar with a full head of hair?
Oh,
hair dye.
Oh, hair dye. Turn it up. It's pretty quiet at the moment because we can't do anything with footy because the season's been cancelled. Because we can't riddle the joint president with me and all the committee members. I can't go up there to have our committee meetings, so it's mainly just on the phone. So I've been caught up with them for months and months. So I just talk to them probably once or twice a week on the phone to see. But I'll be glad when it gets back to some normality because there's nothing all you can do like where we are here. You're probably the same entire place. Where all you do is go down the street, about it, and come do your shopping and then back home. That's it.
Yeah, it's a real challenge that we're facing. But I can't wait to get the footy back because watching the AFL at the moment is not the most exciting thing. I can't wait for a little bit of local footy to get back to.
I'm with you, mate. I'm watching more of the rugby than I'm watching the footy now. Yeah.
Go the Storm. I'm all over it. Tyler, this one is for you. Brad, who was in that Left Behind video, and his sister Mei Ling there's a comment here. They lost their brother Jay and their dad to suicide. And the comment here is: a sister's love to a brother shows no boundaries. Tyler, you're an amazing woman, and so many people are looking up to you. So, take courage from those comments and what that works because and that coming from Mei Ling, she a beautiful person in her own right and doing amazing work in raising awareness for this cause as well. So, we do appreciate your time, Bell family. We, you're as I said at the very start. Yeah, I was humbled. I was a bit nervous to be on the screen with such legends tonight, as I am. I'm just making you feel better about yourself. It's all right. But I was genuinely a little bit nervous and heading into tonight to share. For me, and I talk about this stuff all day, every day. And it's these conversations don't get easier. We just get better at having them. Okay, and really appreciating that, because in the end we're humans with a heart and full of emotion, but the more confidence we can take in how we tackle these challenges and issues as a community, the better off we're all going to be. But what you guys keep doing as a part of, you're a big part of the Love Me Love You family, and we appreciate that. So thank you very much, and Tyler and Belly. Keep rocking it, mate. Keep doing your thing in the world, mate, because the world needs more of you. And Tyler, good luck. Yeah, you're a little superstar, and I can't wait to see you pull the boots on again next season and have a look and see you run through somebody in true Bell style.
You're into the Matty Kelly off too much, I think.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, Lance.
Thanks, Lance, and mate. And anytime you ever need anything, mate, we're always here for you, mate. If you need anything, even if it's a friendly mate, we're here for you too, mate. I know you've had your battle as well, mate. So yeah, we appreciate it, mate, and thank you very much.
Cheers, appreciate it, team. To everyone, we do appreciate, obviously, knowing what we've spoken about tonight. Please understand that if you are in need of help, we have our support pathway program through Love Me Love You, which you can reach via our website, lovemeloveyou.org.au. We're continually doing our education and training programs, which there's still spots available for coming up. But we're about to launch into some, as I said through the start, we're about to launch into some big projects and partnerships that will take us all over the country. And we've got the big ride with me coming up. I should have mentioned it to Belly there. We've got him in Lycra. Would have been an interesting look. But to be in the ride with me, which is coming up in 2 months' time, in Melbourne Cup weekend, please register via the website. Or the links that are going through Facebook here. It's at Ride With Me 2020. We've got close to 500 participants as it is, with a target of 800 people riding for mental health, and that's what it's all about. And it's, the thing is that we are never alone. So please get involved. We continually love the support and the messaging and everything that comes through from these Monday Night Lives with the comments, but obviously the support that we get through the week. But supporting each other is what we're about. Okay, so making sure that it all works for everybody. And good luck. And as I said, COVID period. Let's just fight through this and make this happen for everyone. So appreciate it, and good night. Cheers.